Y'all, this the devotional right here. When I tell you it hit home, it cuts deep. Like I say, this is my favorite devotional. And this devotional cut deep. When I tell you I wasn't gonna I was gonna share it. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, I was gonna share it. But this was the word. This was definitely the word for me today. Definitely. So the soul searching question, before I get into it, and I'm going to answer it honest, cut, dry, no filter. But the soul searching question is, does the glorious light of the cross carry me through the darkest hours? Remember a time when you experienced God's sustaining grace through a difficult circumstance. Ooh, I got a good story for this one. And it says, Father, help me to joyfully accept the thorns. Ooh, I like it when it hurts. Let's get into it. Dull of hearing. Let these words sink into your ears. For the Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of men. Luke 9:44. Many of us have trouble internalizing information. It may be heard, but doesn't really sink in. We are especially dull of hearing when it comes to spiritual truths. Our understanding seems darkened, so we must make a special effort to let the message of the cross really sink in and pray for understanding. The disciples were rejoicing at all that Jesus has done. Little did they know what was ahead. The darkest hours were to come and would cast an evil black shadow over those light-hearted days of miracles. The cross is an ultimate oxymoron. It was evil yet good. It was gross darkness but glorious light. If we let the love expressed on the cross sink deep into our hearts, we will have a light of the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ. When dark days come, it was for us that the Son of Man was delivered into the hands of men, so we could have everlasting life. Such darks are light of consolation in the darkest hours. The soul searching question is, does the glorious light of the cross carry me through the dark hours? Remember a time when you experienced God's sustaining grace through a difficult circumstance. Father, help me to joyfully accept the thorns. Amen and amen. You know, one of the most recent, I have a lot of stories, but one of the most kind of recent circumstance that I went through that was a dark moment in my life is when I had my surgery. I had a full hysterectomy. And the one really reasons I had it, because I had 3 fibroids as big as oranges, that I had the worst periods ever, where the last time I bled, it wouldn't stop. And yes, it's a little bit gross, but yeah. So I was like, enough was enough. You know, God had, at that stage in my life, I was working. And let me tell you, the insurance was like 25% of my paycheck. And it was only by the grace of God how I can even have all my bills paid on time, because my bills always be paid on time. But I was living from check to check. And when I tell you God came through, and I never went hungry. All my bills paid on time. And I was just thankful that God, was there in that moment. But at that time in my life, that was the first time I decided to get real insurance. And not none of this like Medicaid or anything like that. And it was very hard. So that's why I'm an independent. All this crazy stuff. But anyways, yeah, when I couldn't stop, I went to the hospital. And the person thought, oh, I got a net in here. But the person thought that I had Medicaid and stuff. And I had real insurance. And I'm like on the hospital bed. And the doctor about to walk out the room and say, you need to go to your doctor. That was his last word. I said, I have real insurance. And he just walked back in there. And he checked my charge, checked everything. And he was like, I'll be able to do your surgery on such and such day. And it was nothing but the grace of God. I had a little bit of money saved up. I took all my money and put towards that. And made sure that everything was paid for and everything. And man, when I tell you, it was nothing but God. It was nothing but God. It was nothing but God. And it was nothing but God. And everything in the world was trying to steer me from not, like, you know, I will always remember this customer. This customer came in there and she was crying. And she was like, she had my surgery. And she said she would do things different because in the time when she had the surgery, they didn't do it like they did my surgery. Like my surgery, they went through the navel. They went through my stomach to do the surgery. But during her time, back in the days, and this is where a lot of older folks disagree with the surgery because they go through the vagina. And I don't know if it loosened things up. Yeah, but that's what the lady was telling me. The lady was telling me, like, you know, her husband feel a difference and all of that and stuff like that. But, you know, technology has grown so much now, they don't have to go through the vagina anymore. They go through the stomach. So that was kind of discouraging, but at the same time, having that talk with that woman was so, like, I wish I had more encouraging words to tell her because she was crying, I was crying. I didn't know what to say and stuff like that. But I just wanted to tell this lady that, you know, just give it to God, man. Give it to God. If your husband is still with you, he truly loves you and he's going to stick beside you no matter what. You know, it's the love in your heart that you feel like you're not pleasing your man, right? And it's good to have that conviction. But I didn't have, a lot of times when I'm talking to strangers, because I'm an introvert and stuff, and I don't want to say nothing wrong to hurt anybody or to offend nobody, I be so stuck in my words. And when I leave that person, I just wish I had more to say to them. That's why I feel good talking on the internet now. But yeah, it was a lot of things that just was coming my way. But I was like, I'm tired of all this bleeding. I'm tired. I was going through it all the way since high school. I'm sick and tired. And then another thing is when I had all this free insurance, they never figure out what was going on. And as soon as I started paying for real insurance, they got down to the nitty gritty in one checkup. That's ridiculous. That's just I don't even know. I'm just lost for words for that. That's why y'all talking about all these benefits, but sometimes, a lot of times, I mean, come on. It's worth paying for the good thing, or just taking care of your body, period. Pay for the good stuff, or just eat right and exercise and take care of your body and try to heal yourself, because sometimes that free stuff is no good. I'm not saying 100% of it is no good, but from my experience, for myself, I mean, when I started paying for things, I started seeing a difference. I'm just saying. But also, I did do my due diligence in the doctors that I chose and everything else. But yes, I give thanks to Jesus. No guilt, no shame, no condemnation. I'm glad I can share my testimony. I'm so happy I can share my testimony on this, because it's always hope. You just have to keep on seeking and you will find. All that pride and ego, let that go. God do not like pride and ego. I don't know who told y'all God did, but he don't. You got to let go of that shame. You got to let go of that guilt and be God-fearing. Period. That's the word of the day. Be God-fearing. So I hope y'all have a good day.